We've always been a pioneering institution
that's been at the centre of outstanding research and innovation,
that has promoted great teaching and learning,
and one that has challenged convention.
We appointed Britain's first female professor long before women got the vote.
When 1940s Europe lay in ruins, we led the way, opening one of the UK's first business schools.
We pushed the boundaries of research in agriculture, food and nutrition when our grandparents still had ration books.
And when modern keyhole surgery was still a dream, it was Harold Hopkins that paved the way with his pioneering research into fibre optics.
We created the world's first human cyborg when others thought it was just science fiction.
And while the world was still trying to understand the greenhouse effect, we were leading the way in climate science.
It was our chemists who fought to take the lead out of petrol when industry refused to listen.
And our work in the arts and humanities continues to shape the cultural fabric of our society.
We don't just teach students about languages and cultures.
We understand the origins of language itself.
Before mental health even reached the political agenda, we champion psychological therapy.
We've inspired trailblazers in fashion, the arts and business, and now we're helping the next generation of entrepreneurs to follow in their footsteps.
Our international outlook brought us our first overseas student to the UK at the turn of the last century.
And it's now taken our ethos, values and excellence beyond our shores at the start of this century.
We have never looked back.
We will always look forward. The University of Reading, celebrating 90 years of excellence.
Ok, espero que les haya interesado mucho este video, perdón. Entonces, ahora voy a pasar la palabra a Frankie Hunt, who will speak to us in English and give us an introduction to the University of Reading. There's the slides, Frankie. Many thanks for giving up your evening to speak to us today. Many thanks. I'll hand over to you.
Great, thank you. It's lovely to be here, and it's really nice to meet all of you this evening. So I think some introductions happened already, but I don't speak Spanish, so I'm going to introduce myself again. So I'm Frankie Hunt. I'm the regional manager who looks after our students from Europe and the Americas. So I cover North, South and Central America. So to give you an idea of the sort of things I'm going to talk about today, so I'm going to give you a more general introduction to Reading, talk about what you can study, so the different academic majors that we offer. Also talk about our scholarships, that's both our undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships for this year, talk a bit about life on campus and our accommodation, and then I'm going to pass over to Mariana, who's going to give you some information firsthand on what life is like being a real student here at the university. And then at the end, we'll have lots of time to do some questions and answers. You can ask anything at all related to the campus, Reading, any programs that you're interested in, scholarships. And we're all here to try and help answer that for you. So to start with, to give you a brief introduction about Reading. So we are, as I'm sure you could tell from the video, quite an old university. So we have over 125 years of history, and we started out as a University of Oxford Extension College back in 1897. We then gained our Royal Charter, becoming the University of Reading in 1926. So hopefully you can see the map, but it's not too small. You can see us there in the southeast of the UK. So we are very close to London. The quickest train you can get now is about 22 minutes. And that will take you from Reading all the way right into central London in Zone 1. In addition, because of where we are, we also have really easy reach to quite a few different international airports. So London Heathrow is about 40 minutes away by car or direct bus link. And you can also get to London Gatwick International Airport. That will take you to a lot of further international locations and also to a lot of locations within Europe if you'd like to travel. And that's about 90 minutes to 2 hours away by train, depending on which train you get. In addition, because Reading is quite a big rail hub, you can also get via train to quite a few other locations in the UK. You can get all the way up to Glasgow on a direct train. So if you wanted to go to Scotland, you can get to Manchester on a direct train in about 3.5 hours, and you can get down to the south coast in about 2 hours as well. So lots of different things that you can go and explore locally, and it is really easy to get around from this location. So to give you a bit more information about Reading itself, we are quite a business-focused location. We're a commercial centre in what's called the Thames Valley in the UK. It's a bit like the Silicon Valley in the US, in that we have a lot of blue chip and technology companies. They're based in the local area. So we have the UK headquarters of Microsoft, the UK headquarters of Oracle, are both based just outside of Reading. And we also have big offices of other multinational companies such as Prudential, Huawei, Ericsson, PepsiCo, Virgin Media, as well as quite local to us. And because of that, it means that we have a lot of other small to medium-sized enterprises and blue chip companies that are in the local areas. So if that's an area that you are particularly interested in, there are loads of different opportunities potentially for internships and work experience in the local area too. Outside of business, we are a regional hub for culture, shopping and recreation, so there is quite a lot to do in the local area. And we do have Reading Festival, which is one of the biggest music festivals in the UK, second only to Glastonbury really. And that's based right in the centre of Reading. So we have about 80,000 people that come every year to Reading Festival, and that's over 3 days in the summer. So all of our students have the opportunity to go to that if they'd like to. You can see the Oracle Shopping Centre, so that's a mall in the centre, in the bottom left-hand picture. And you can also see on that right-hand picture some of the beautiful green countryside that's really close. So if you go about 30 minutes in any direction from Reading, you will hit a landscape that looks a lot like that. So if you are interested in nature and being out in green spaces, then it's really easy to do from this location. So just to give you a little bit more information about the university, so I'd mentioned that we gained our World Charter in 1926. So that means that we were made into a full university in 1926. We're actually the only university to be created in that interwar period here in the UK. So since the beginning, we have educated students from all over the world. So it's 150,000 people from 180 different countries. So generally, if you can think of a country, there's probably somebody that's come and studied at Reading at some point from there. And we currently have students from about 150 countries studying with us right now. So it is a really international university that you'll be coming to. We're also a 5-time winner of what's called the Queen's Anniversary Prize for Higher Education. So this is awarded to different universities each year, and it's about our research excellence and teaching quality. So we've won it twice for meteorology now, typography, English literature, and agriculture as well. We've also won our, well, this has been going year on year now, so it's the Green Flag Award. So we've won it for the 11th year running this year, and that's an award for being the top university green space in the UK. I mentioned green space outside, but we do have a lot of green space inside the university campus as well, which I'll talk a little bit about. So to briefly touch on rankings, I will come back to this a bit later related to subjects, but we're currently 205th in the world. And we are a very research-led university as well. So nearly 100% of our research is classed as internationally recognised and renowned. We also have a very good graduate record here. So 94% of our graduates are within work or further study within 6 months of graduation with us. So we are quite a large university, and we do have just over 20,000 students that study with us, and that's including some of our offshore students and some of the campuses. And just under 4,000 of those students are international students like yourself. Our students are also very high achieving, so about 80% of our undergraduate students graduate with a first or a 2-1, so that's in that top percentile, about a 3 out of 4 GPA if you use that scale, and a similar amount also graduate with a distinction or merit in their master's degree. So next I wanted to talk a bit about the academic majors that we offer and what you could potentially come and study with us. So we are quite a traditional university, I'd say, and we do offer most of your traditional academic subjects, as well as some that are a little bit more niche. It's probably easier to say the subjects that we don't offer here at Reading. So we don't have a medical school, for example. While we do offer biomedical sciences and medical sciences, we don't offer an actual medicine or nursing degree. And we don't have veterinary science or engineering. But outside of that, you can see here all of your traditional academic subjects are covered, particularly largely in the business school, where we have accounting, business and management, finance, informatics, and real estate and planning all falling under that too. So, I talked about our position briefly in the world, but we are in the top 30 UK universities according to the QS rankings for this year. And we have a number of different subjects in the UK top 20 and indeed the UK top 10 as well. So our two biggest schools and always do really well are land and property management, so that's real estate, and our agriculture courses are always really highly ranked each year. Something that changed slightly this year was our art and design courses. So that went up quite a bit. So we're now in the top 10 in the UK for art and design, and also our building sciences courses, that's construction management and surveying, are really highly ranked. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of our key schools that you might be interested in, just to give you a bit more background and information about those particular departments. So agriculture is, as I said before, one of the biggest departments at the university and is always really popular, particularly with international students, partly because of how, well, the size of it, so the research facilities that we have, and also the overall world rankings. So we're currently 12th in the world for agriculture and forestry. So it is a degree that will be recognised all over the world. We have a lot of research expertise, particularly in relation to climate change, resource degradation, hunger, poverty, diet and health. So a lot of subjects related to international development, as well as food technology and crop sciences. What students sometimes don't know is that the university actually owns 3 working farm facilities. So we have the Centre for Dairy Research, which is the most cows I've ever seen in my life, which is just outside of Reading. We have a Centre for Crop Sciences and Crop Research. And we also have a cocoa plant quarantine facility, which is based on the campus. So I always say that any chocolate that's entered the UK has probably been through our cocoa plant quarantine facility at some point. So if you are interested in agriculture, there are really good opportunities for you to do really hands-on field work at the university's own farm facilities. So I mentioned Henley Business School briefly before. It is one of the oldest business schools in the UK, originally founded in 1945, and it joined to become part of the University of Reading in 2008. So Henley Business School is our business school, and it teaches all of our business, finance, real estate, informatics, marketing, business and management type programs. So if you're studying undergraduate or postgraduate business, you will be based at that brand new Henley Business School building you can see there. That's on our main campus. It is a triple accredited business school. So that means that it's accredited by awarding bodies in the USA, Europe, and in the UK as well, which you can see there. So AMBER is the UK, EQUIS is the European accreditation, and AACSB is the American accreditation. And less than 1% of business schools in the world have that triple accreditation as well. It's also home to the ICMA Centre. And I always think this gets a bit complicated for students. So you have the University of Reading, and then Henley Business School is part of it. And then the ICMA Centre is the finance department in Henley Business School. But the ICMA Centre is just to the left-hand side of that picture, you can see there. And they teach all of our finance courses. So we have over 100 different trading simulation terminals that students can use. So if you're interested in finance and investment banking, it means that you can do a lot of portfolio management type exercises and get real hands-on experience while still studying your degree program. So last school I wanted to highlight for you is our law department. So the law department, I always think are very lucky. So they are in, I think, probably the prettiest building on campus. So the campus was originally a country estate, and the School of Law is the manor house of that original estate. So it's looking over the lake. It's very, very beautiful. And they have all their own reading rooms and beautiful libraries and offices. So it's a great environment for students to study in. So the law school, there are loads of different modules that students can get involved in depending on their interests. So we have international law, commercial law, European law, conflict and disaster management, human rights. Depending on if you're interested or undergraduate or postgraduate, there are lots of different options for you. And the law school also offers pro bono work that students can do with local charities, and there are mooting competitions that you can get involved in as well. Again, like a lot of the university, it's a very research-led department, and 100% of their research was judged to be world-leading or internationally excellent at the last check in 2014. So if you are looking at undergraduate programs and perhaps you don't have qualifications that are equal to UK A-levels, so if you're not studying at an international school, for example. And we do have a number of different foundation programs that we offer to enable students to access our undergraduate programs. So we have two different types of foundation programs here at Reading. We have CEG on campus, who are a pathway provider that we work with. So the students do study on campus, and they study on our London Road campus, and they're still taught by university lecturers, but it's just done in a slightly different way to the other ones. But if you're interested in foundations in business and economics, or art, film or theatre, then you would apply directly to CEG on campus for that. All of our other programs would fall under our international foundation programs. So there's a pathway to every program at the University of Reading, and you would apply directly to the university for that. If you do want a little bit of help with your English before you join, perhaps you haven't got the right IELTS result to come, you could potentially look at taking a pre-sessional English course. So they technically start from IELTS 4.0, but not many students come and do that because that's a whole year. And most students tend to come for 6, 9 or 12 weeks in the summer, just before they start their main degree program in the September. We also offer what's called a half band credit for most of our degree courses. So that means if you needed to get a 6.5 in your IELTS, but you came to us with a 5.5, as long as you could get to a 6 on our pre-sessional English program, then you get admitted to the course. So that's your half band credit. And that is for most of the programs. The application deadlines vary each year, but they're normally about a month before. But I'm actually aware that they're accepting applications about 2 weeks before at the moment. So it is quite a good time to try and apply for one of those if you're interested in them. Additionally, we're also offering them either online or on campus at the moment, just because we appreciate it's still quite difficult for students to get to us. So we had a lot of students who did an online pre-sessional this summer and then came to campus to join us in the autumn. So I know everyone's always really interested in talking about scholarships and what we have on offer. And we do have both undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships available for students. So our undergraduate scholarships are the Vice Chancellor Global Scholarship Awards that are highlighted at the top there. So we have 15 of these available for international students, and you're automatically considered after you've accepted your offer. So for the undergraduate scholarships, you don't actually need to apply for them. And they're worth £4,000. And if they're awarded to you, then that £4,000 will be applied to each year of your studies as well. For the master's scholarships, it's slightly different. You do need to apply to the master's scholarships, and then you get an application form for those once you've received an offer from the university. We have general international scholarships that any international student can apply for, and we have 10 of those, again, worth £4,000 available. In addition, there are also subject international scholarships. These are also worth £4,000, and the amount of them available depends on the subject that you're applying to. So I definitely recommend having a look at further information. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen, there is a tab called Offers, which has a picture of a shopping trolley. If you click on that, you can actually follow a link and then find out more information about our scholarships on Anglo Latino's website as well. But if you have any questions about those, do put them into the chat and I can help you with those at the end. So moving on a little bit more towards student life, this sort of sits in between the two. And we do offer what's called an academic English program, which all international students can access for free, as long as they're studying full-time with us. So this is to help you with your English and keep things going and moving alongside your academic studies and just your day-to-day life while you're here with us. So there are 3 different strands to the academic English program. So there's a program of courses and webinars that's open to all fee-paying international students. You can also have one-to-one consultations with members of staff, so that gives you more individual advice on writing and presenting in English. And then you can also attend modules or workshops that are related to your discipline. So this will help you to improve your academic English and academic writing and make sure that you can do the best possible while you're studying with us. So you will get details on how to apply to that and how to enroll in those courses, but you study that alongside your academic program. And as I said, that's free of charge to all students that are studying with us full time. So next I wanted to give you some information about what life on campus is really like from my perspective, and then I will pass over to Mariana, who's going to give you some information on what it's been like studying for her this year so far. So we have two campuses, which I've referred to a little bit as we've been through the general presentation, but our main campus is the one on the left-hand side. So that's our White Knights campus. I mentioned we're originally a country estate. It means that we're a very big parkland campus, actually 130 hectares. And it probably takes, I reckon, about 30 minutes to walk all the way from one side to the other. But a lot of students do cycle that as well. So we have a real mixture of different buildings. So we have the historical listed buildings like the School of Law that I mentioned. We also have a lot of modern buildings like our brand new library that's pictured below. We have what we call the wilderness, which is a lot of woodland around the edge of campus. We have a botanical gardens that's based on campus that's open to students, and a really big lake with lots of wildlife and particularly lots of bird life. So we have a lot of baby birds in the spring as well, which is always really lovely for students. We also have our London Road campus. So that's the one on the right-hand side. And I've mentioned that our CEG on-campus students study there. It's also home to our Institute of Education and our School of Architecture. Apart from that, it is a lot of sort of music practice rooms for students that are interested in that, and the recruitment offices. So I work on London campus as well. We use the Great Hall there for a lot of our graduation ceremonies. It's the original campus of the university, so it is quite grand, and a lot of students do sit examinations in that hall too. So this is an aerial overview of about half of the White Knights campus. So you can see some of our student accommodation, which is that figure of 8 shape at the front. So that's Mackinder and Stenton halls there. You can see the School of Law, which is just to the bottom left of that. So that's that red brick building as that overlooks the lake. See, a lot of academic buildings are all behind it. And on the left-hand side, you can also see part of White Knights Lake as well. Just on the other side of that, you've actually got a load more student accommodation, and our School of Agriculture and Meteorology and Art and Design are on the other side of the lake as well. But I hope that gives you an idea about how green it is and also the scale of the campus. So to talk briefly about careers, so we do have one of the top 10 university career services in the UK, and they offer a full schedule of events each semester for students to attend. So I think it's probably too small, but I think you get the idea about the amount of different things that are available to students. So this is just one term. So this was just this was half of a term. It was only weeks 1 to 5 of the autumn semester. So we had a lot of different talks on enhancing your careers options. We had a LinkedIn photo booth that went up on campus. Students could go to job recruitment fairs. They could talk about how to find research positions. There were loads of different things that were on offer, and that continues each of the semesters that we have. Students can also go to CV writing workshops. You can book one-to-one consultations. There's loads of different career support for you, no matter what stage of study you're at here at Reading. Also wanted to talk briefly about the Students' Union, which is Reading University Students' Union, or RUSU. So they organise a lot of the different social activities here on campus. So we have over 150 student clubs and societies, and they range in their depth. So we have academic and career type societies. So for example, if you're studying agriculture, there'll be an agric society you can join. We have culture and faith societies. We actually have a very strong Spanish and Latin America society that are very active and organise lots of activities. And we have hobby and interest societies, music societies, anything you could think of, really. There'll be some type of social society that you can join to make friends or to explore a different hobby. In addition, Reading University Students' Union actually is technically the biggest nightclub in Reading. So it opens up every Wednesday and Saturday, and it has a nightclub room, it has 2 different bar rooms, and lots of students do go to that every week and have a good time. Outside of that, we host movie nights, we have lots of comedy nights, and we host a summer ball and a freshers ball every year as well. So summer ball is a bit like a mini festival. So they have a big top out the back. They have lots of different music acts and fairground rides. They really do try and make it so students can have a good time alongside their studies and to relax, most importantly, when all of their exams are done in the summer. I showed you the picture of the library a little bit earlier when I was talking about White Knights campus, but it's worth saying that the library has literally just been refurbished. So it is a really beautiful study space for you now. So we spent over 40 million redeveloping and refurbishing that library back in 2019. And you can see some of the study space on the bottom right-hand picture there now. It is open 24 hours a week, 24 hours a day even. So 24 hours a day during the week in term time. So if you do have anything that you need to do, you have any group projects, you have any last minute deadlines, the library will be available for you to go there. And of course, there is 24/7 online access to academic resources and journals. That's all included in the cost of your student fees. So if you are interested in sports, because we're a campus university, it means we have a lot of green open space in which to put playing fields. And we do have a sports park that's based on the main campus as well. So students can join the sports park, which has 2 different gym rooms. It's got a weights room, it has a cardio room, and quite a few different studio spaces and sports halls. So students can join that gym for a subsidized rate and also attend lots of different classes. And outside of that, you can either play sports for fun or you can play sports semi-competitively with other universities as well. So last thing I wanted to talk about before I hand it over to Mariana was just briefly about our accommodation options. So because we are a campus university, again, it means that we have a lot of accommodation that's available on campus for students. So we have almost 5,000 rooms. That means that if you're an undergraduate student coming to us for your first year, then you're guaranteed a place in accommodation just for that first year. And then a lot of students do tend to go off and live with their friends. Or if you're a master's student, again, because you're coming to us for 1 year, as long as you meet all the relevant application deadlines, then you're guaranteed student accommodation for that year as well. Most of it is either on the campus, like the picture I showed you earlier, or it's within a 10-15 minute walk maximum. So it is all very close. There are lots of different types of rooms as well. So they start at about £130 a week. And that cheapest one will be your standard room without a wash basin, going all the way up to a 1-bedroom flat. So there are lots of different options depending on what your budget is. In addition, you can choose for all of the rooms whether or not you want to be catered or whether or not you want to be self-catered. So if you want to have money loaded onto a campus card, so you can spend that in outlets on campus, the canteens, or you can choose to be fully self-catered and cook all of your food in a shared kitchen. So just to give you an idea about the types of different accommodation we have, and this is actually part of that picture I showed you earlier. So that figure of 8 shape is the Kinder Hall. So that was relatively new. That was built in 2010. And this is some of our premium student accommodation. So there's about 8 students share a kitchen, which you can sort of see in the middle there. It's that glass panel is all of the kitchens. And then students have double rooms and their own bathrooms, and they share that kitchen area. On the other end of the scale, so completely different type of accommodation, we have Wantage Hall. Wantage Hall was one of the original student accommodations back when we were a Oxford Extension College, and you can see that it really has that type of look as well. So Wantage is a bit more of your, I guess, Oxford type experience, if you want to say that. They have a great hall in Wantage, and they have more formal dinners, and you're definitely not allowed to walk on the grass at all. So just before we go into any questions that you have, I'll pass over to Mariana, who's going to give you some information on what it's been like for her so far in her first term studying with us.
Hello. I don't know, should I continue in English, Spanish? I'm fine with both.
Como gustes,
English.
Mariana.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I arrived here in September. It was quite a rush between the visa and everything, but after I arrived, everything's been great. We're having currently classes. They actually incremented the amount of FaceTime classes we are. So guys, be sure you're gonna have classes. So COVID restrictions are going a bit down here in the country. So it was, compared to Mexico, believe me, restrictions are incredibly lowered. Disregarding that, Reading, it's beautiful. It's a town, and hopefully we'll get named city with the Queen's Jubilee, hopefully. And we're also getting a tube station, a tube line that will take us straight to London, so it would be even cheaper to get there. For me, it was the best of both worlds, and it was the main reason why I selected it. I also had the option of going to London, but really having a place to focus and just to slow down for a bit. And if you just want to unwind for the weekend and travel, you can do it. So that was one of the main reasons. Also, I'm currently doing my master's in international shipping and finance in the ICMA Center in Henley. So yeah, I'm technically almost halfway through. I don't know what else to tell you guys. The campus is great. I have spent nights at the library, full nights and days. Definitely, it's one of my favorite places to study. I currently live off campus. You can have both options, but accommodation is great. I have friends that are in there. I sometimes quite regret not staying in accommodation. But yeah, it's close by. You get downtown in 20-minute bus ride or even a walk. Sometimes it's just like a 30-minute walk, and it's just nice to get some fresh air. Yeah, you have tons of fun stuff to do around Reading. Has a great nightlife, restaurants, bars. There's also recreational activities. There's tons of parks, green areas, especially getting out a bit of the downtown towards Caversham. What else? Inside the university, as you've heard, we had student union. It's a fun place. It's a nightclub. It's the biggest nightclub in Reading. Yeah. They also host a variety of events which are fun to go to. I'm actually currently student rep as well for my course. So you always have someone looking, whether it's your teachers, your tutors, or you also have a fellow student just there to say, hey, I need help. Additionally, there's tons of things regarding food. Believe me, you're not going to miss food. There's nice food on campus usually, and if not, you can go to London and have some very nice Mexican food, or from I know it's Latin America, so all of the nationalities are in there. Believe me, and sometimes we get Mexican food in the cafeteria, so that's nice. We also have Parky, which is also a bar, so it's kind of, at least for us master students, like the place we go. It's a bit more chill than the nightclub, but it's a nice place just to hang out with friends. About making friends, believe me, you're gonna make friends. It's very hard not to make friends. Everyone's super friendly. You either make them in the clubs or just people from your course. And yeah, I was nervous at the beginning, but believe me, once I just started meeting people, it was just easy. Everybody's so welcoming. And the teachers are great. They have tons of experience. They're usually willing to help you with anything you need. But yeah, while you put in the work, I think it's just easy to accomplish your goals academically and professionally. The careers team, as you've heard as well, it's great. At least for Henley, we also have like a in-school careers team, so we get invited to tons of industry events besides the careers in general. So you get the exposure. You also get to learn from organizations as well here in the country. So yeah, that's all. I don't know what else to mention. Did I miss anything?
No, I think it was very complete. I just wondered, you mentioned the Students' Union, and Frankie did. What club do you join? Any clubs or societies? You're in the Spanish and Latin America Society.
Yeah,
what things are going on? Tell us.
I think to be honest, I've been really focused on my assignments right now.
Right.
I just finished exams, but they do going out events and gather, and it's sometimes nice just to speak your own language for a bit.
Yes.
But it's also great. You get to practice your English a lot. I have friends that actually have been to the academic English classes, so yeah, their English level has completely changed. But yeah, there's also, I have friends that are in clubs. They play sports. Some others they're not sporty. They're just like more of a certain interest. There's also a trading club. So yeah, pretty much you will never get bored. Believe me, there's tons of things to do, and you can pursue other passions besides school if you also want to have just like a side hobby or anything, or develop a new one. Usually, if you want to play a sport, you don't need to be an expert. They usually have entry-level teams, or just like practice for fun. You can just go on Saturdays and play volleyball, for example. So yeah, it's quite fun. It's nice. It's a lovely town. It's the biggest town. So whenever I say town, don't think it's the smallest one. It's large. We also have the Oracle, as mentioned. It's a nice mall to have. It's just like a regular plain old American mall, but it's a bit nicer in my opinion. And the city is quite historic. Actually, during the first weeks, they offer a walking tour, and taking it, it's very recommendable. You learn about the history of Reading and even the uni as well. So yeah, I don't know what else I'm missing, but anything.
You've covered lots of areas there. You sound very settled in your surroundings, which is great, Mariana. Yes, you seem really familiar with everything and very happy. So that's fantastic. Great to know.
Any questions, guys, you have, please post them.
Yeah, I asked if there are quite a few questions coming in. I was asking if people had questions for you specifically, but I'll go through some of the questions as they came in. Are you seeing something there?
The public transport.
Yes.
They are several options. I actually have the student uni card in which I paid a fixed fee for the whole term. There are also ways in you can buy a bundle of tickets if you're not coming every day. Sometimes it depends on how you administer yourself, but there are tons of packages and options for the public transport here in Reading. And there's also student discounts everywhere, including the buses. So yeah, even shopping for clothes, that's a good one. They're not very common, at least in Latin America, not everywhere.
I always ask if they have a student discount.
Always.
They won't always say, but they often always do. And it can be 10%, 20% off. It's always worth asking if they do student discount.
Yes.
Yeah. Take an empty suitcase with you so you can put all the new clothes in it. So when you're coming back home, we often recommend that. Roxana earlier on asked a question about, Frankie, you were talking about the English language, the pre-sessional courses. She was asking for some idea on the cost of those courses. I don't know if you have that information to hand, or we can get it to Roxana later. Give a rough idea of the English, the pre-sessional courses and how much they cost.
That really will vary depending on how long it is you're studying for. So, of course, the longer you study with us, the more expensive it will be. I will have a look in a second, see what the prices are for next year, just so I can give you those a little bit more accurately. I said it will depend on, sometimes you might need to combine a couple of the pre-sessional courses together. Sometimes you might be able to just do a 6-week course. Your general costs will depend as well on whether or not you want to study it online or if you want to come and study it in person as well. So you'll need to pay for accommodation too if you're coming to study with us in person. So the online option can be a little bit cheaper. But I will double check that in a second and I'll circle back to it.
So mucho depende de tu nivel de inglés, Roxana, porque sí, la duración del programa va a depender del nivel de entrada de inglés que tengas. Entonces, Frankie nos va a buscar para tener una idea general, pero sí sería útil para nosotros para poder orientarte mejor, saber si tienes un nivel IELTS o TOEFL, y así se mide el número de semanas que necesitarías para poder entrar al programa de estudios académicos al que estás aplicando. Okay. Hilda is asking a question. Is it possible, this is about scholarships, to obtain more than one scholarship as a postgrad international student, since there are general scholarships and other ones available? Are you able to combine the scholarships, Frankie, I suppose is the succinct way of saying that?
You are, which I'm really pleased to be able to say.
Yes,
so we did have students last year as well who were awarded a more general scholarship and also awarded a subject scholarship. So if you awarded both of them together, then that would be an £8,000 reduction off your student fees, which of course is really great.
And does the university currently have any agreements with funding bodies here in Mexico?
So we do. We have 2 different agreements at the moment, one with FUNED and one with FIDER, and both of them offer a 10% fee reduction to students that come through those schemes.
Fantastic. So and we can help with those applications as you go through. Now, also, David, sorry.
I don't know if it's still taking place, but also one to look out is for the GREAT scholarship. There's a scholarship for postgrad students, which is almost the entire it covers almost all the fees, but there's only one. So we still don't know who get it. We've talked with every other Mexican, but someone got it.
Mariana, what happened?
No. I've only know 3 other Mexicans, but we've talked and we didn't get it. But yeah, that's a scholarship to look out, especially if you're a postgrad. I think we're not many, at least it's by country. I understand they may also have other countries for Latin America, but do look at it. It's granted by the British Council.
Yeah, so we don't have Mexico for this year, but it really does vary by year. So we have different countries each year. So obviously, if you're looking at 2022 entry, then it wouldn't be available for this year, but it might be available for the next year. So do have a look on the website and see. That it just depends on what it is that we're awarded. We ask for them all, and they give us some of them each year.
The university has to bid for the scholarships as well. So a number of questions from David. Nice to see you, David. Thanks for coming on. So I know David's interested in fine arts. So he was asking for a bit more. You've been through the different campus areas, Frankie. What's the campus for the MA in fine arts, and what accommodations are there for MA students specifically on campus?
Sure. So we're actually in the process of building a brand new art department at the moment, which I'm sure you'd be pleased to know, partly based, I think, on our increase in ranking now that we're in the top 10 in the UK. So at the moment, we do have our art buildings, and they're on our main White Knights campus, and they're actually one of the ones that are the other side of the lake I was talking about. So we have our entrepreneurship centre on the other side of the lake. We have agriculture and meteorology and the art department. But the art department, as I said, they are going to build a new state-of-the-art one that's coming quite soon. So for master's students, you can actually technically join any student accommodation. So it is spread out, but we don't tend to put postgraduates and undergraduates in the same flats for obvious reasons. So there are defined flats and areas within the student accommodations that you can join any of the student accommodations. So you can apply to any of them.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. David also asks about, is there a countryside or a farmer's market, I suppose is the way of saying it, and a Catholic church in town? I'm sure there's a Catholic church in town somewhere. Mariana, can you help us on that?
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, there are 3 Catholic churches in Reading, and there are markets everywhere. There's actually in the Student Union, once a week, they usually hold a market in which they sell fresh produce. So you even have it in uni. You just remember to take your bag and you're all set. So yeah, that's great. For Roxana, you asked about a special price for going to London. There is something called the student rail card, which will deduct a third of your ticket fare. So that's very useful. I mean, you use it 3 times and you already recovered what you have. You do have to pay for it, but I do have it and I love it. It's really, really helpful on saving some money.
Okay, fantastic. That's a great tip. Juliana, hi Juliana, thanks for the question. We don't just have Mexicans on today, I'm sure. So Juliana is asking which countries are getting the great scholarship. I'm assuming she's asking about here for 2022-23. And any Latin American countries on Reading's list this year, Frankie?
Oh, it's not, I'm afraid, this year.
None.
No, not for Latin America for this year, I'm afraid. They do mix it up each year. So we have different countries for each year. And I think this year, I believe it's India, China, I think it might be Indonesia for this year as well, but none of the ones in my region, I'm afraid. I wish I had better news with that.
Okay, well, Juliana, we can help you with other options. So there are the combined scholarships that Frankie's already mentioned, so up to £8,000 potentially in scholarships, and we can help you with local funding options here if you have any questions. I can't see any further questions coming in. I think we've answered all the ones that came up. You're welcome, anybody with any other questions before we go, either for Mariana or for Frankie, to ask questions in the chat or the Q&A. I just, one thing you mentioned, Mariana, that occurs to me, the COVID situation in the UK, and the fact you're having more and more face-to-face classes or interaction with academics, which is great. And also very good news just this week that Mexico is now certifications of vaccines in Mexico are now accepted by UK governments. That's fantastic news as of the 11th of February. So there's no need to do quarantine or do PCR tests or anything like that even for unvaccinated students. Were you vaccinated before you went to the UK? Did you get your vaccinations since you've been in the UK? What's your situation?
I actually got vaccinated in the US, as many Mexicans did, because it was a bit taking long time, but they also recognized it. Last week, I had my appointment to register my vaccination with the National Health Service here in the UK. So I have my QR and everything, and I got boosted already. Vaccination here, it's quite easy, guys. You just go into a pharmacy, get it, and you're all set. Regarding the face mask, we do have to use them in public transport and in certain areas, like entering stores and everything. But according to the government, that's eventually going to, I think they're going to lay back a bit on that. But yeah, I mean, we're having face-to-face classes. Of course, some lectures are still online, especially if there's a COVID case or anything. The measures the university takes to ensure that we are safe, they're quite strict. So don't be worried about that. Even compared to the strictness they have in Mexico, at least in Mexico, I don't know if in other countries, regarding the face mask and all the procedures, they're quite stronger in there. Here it's quite a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, it's mainly the big lectures that are affected, right? That they limit those, but they're all recorded, so you can revisit the lectures online and take your notes in your own time.
Yeah, it's a win-win. At some on the side, you have all the content in there, so you get your time to have a notes. You also have your seminars, and in the seminars, you get to have a one-on-one interaction with the lecturer or teaching assistants. We are which they also work with the lecturer. So any questions, anyways, you always have the email. Teachers are amazing responding, and you can even get one-on-one appointments if you really need help. So yeah, to be honest, we've been managing good.
Fantastic. Yeah, Roxana's come back with another question. Thanks again, Roxana. Muchas gracias. She's asking about health insurance. So do we need to have a health insurance additional or separate from the health insurance you pay when you're applying for the visa? What's your opinion on that, Mariana? Have you taken out any private health insurance?
I have my own private health insurance from Mexico, which of course I didn't cancel. But no, you don't need. With the application on your visa, you pay the NHS surcharge. As soon as you get to the UK, you register in a clinic. You just go, give your papers, and whenever you need a doctor, you just call them or make an appointment through your app or phone. And believe me, it's pretty efficient. I actually have several conditions in which I have to be taking medicine that is prescribed, and they just make sure I get everything. So believe me, if you have any condition or anything, you can continue even your treatment in here. So yeah, it's quite compared to Mexico social service. Okay, it's quite decent, and especially if you feel ill or anything, it's quite nice just to have someone at least on the other end on the phone just taking care of you. So yeah.
And the NHS surcharge, that covers all your doctor's appointments, but then you have to pay for your the medicine, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But it's the standard fee for medicine in the UK, right? Through the
NHS. It's not very expensive, to be honest.
It's one of the things I'm still grappling with in Mexico. Medicine costs so much money. It's incredible. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, so any medicines prescribed by doctors is a standard fee. Yeah. Thank you for that.
The university does have its own medical centre, it's worth saying as well. So we have our own medical centre, we have our own dentists as well, that's literally just off campus. So most students tend to go register there. We do help them to do that during their orientation weeks as well. And students get those preferred places at those too. So it'd be really easy for you to visit a doctor if you need to.
Are the dental services on campus reasonably priced? One of the things we often tell students before they come is if they need any dental work doing, they should do it here in Mexico. That is one area that maybe the UK is, and that's not covered by the NHS surcharge, I don't think, in general. So is it a good service and reasonably priced on campus if people need dental work?
As it depends on the type of dental work you need doing. If it's a checkup, or you need an emergency appointment, then it is relatively reasonably priced. But I wouldn't recommend going for any elective dental work. That would definitely be cheaper in Mexico.
I actually just went here downtown I'm registered with the clinic at uni, so I've used it. They're great. But I went downtown for an hygiene. It's almost the same price as Mexico, just for the routine cleaning. So yeah, I would say like just for habits and everything, they're okay prices.
Okay, that's good.
It's definitely something I just did because I needed it just for to keep up. But yeah.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Thanks for that extra information. So Yeah, I think those. Oh, we've got another question popping in there in the Q&A. Just let me go to that. From Magnolia. ¿Con cuánto presupuesto debo contar para estudiar un máster en los casos de no recibir o no una beca? So, how much should people be budgeting to study a master's? Total cost, I suppose, the cost of the master's, which can vary according to the faculty, etc., and then the cost of living. Mariana, maybe you can give us a helping hand there. What's it been like for you? I don't know if you got some scholarships as part of your process.
No.
How have you budgeted for things then? Can you help out with Magnolia's question?
Well, yeah, I have a bus card, and I usually have at least one meal at campus, and the other two I cook. So it kind of helps with the expenses. However, of course, if you want to have some fun or anything, I would as well consider certain budget for it as well, because you really at some point you want to go out or go to London or anything, and you realize that London is a bit more expensive regarding food, drinks, and everything. So there's always nice to have a buffer in there. I think they have a detail about the approximate budget in the Reading webpage, or I'm not sure.
They will have, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're probably looking around about kind of, I guess, £100–120 a week, realistically. If you want to have a bit for entertainment, for your mobile phone contract, if you have one of those, for transport, for any books that you might need, and general cost of living, so your food. But of course, it really will depend on, as Mariana says, how you live your life, I guess, and what you'd like to do. This part of the country, you can live very cheaply if you would like to, if you cook your own food and you take part in the student activities that are all organised. But if you want to go shopping a lot and you want to go and eat out a lot and you want to go into London a lot, at that point it will start to get a little bit more expensive. So you'll find your own balance when you're here with us. But yeah, Reading is a little bit cheaper than London. So if you want to save money, I recommend staying here. Maybe a little bit more, but going in trips into London, obviously the entertainment's great, the shopping's great, and the culture's great. So it's definitely worth doing at least a couple of times a term. But just bear it in mind that it will hit your budget a little bit harder if you start going into the capital quite a lot.
Yeah, for the visa requirement is to have £9,135 to cover living expenses. So yeah, something in that region and maybe a bit more is a nice buffer, as Mariana put it, to have a bit more money and a bit of savings behind you as well to help you live nicely whilst you're in the UK. And the fees, range of fees for master's students, Frankie, can you give us an indication on that? What sort of range of fees are?
Sure. So we have what we call Band 1 and Band 2 subjects. So Band 1 subjects are all of your arts and humanities type subjects, so the ones that don't have laboratory work or significant workshop work. So if you're a Band 1 subject, then the student fees are a little lower just because you don't need a specialist facilities. So you're looking around about £18,000 for a year for those fees. So it'll be £18,000 total for a master's fee if you're studying with us for 1 year. If you're looking at the Band 2 subjects, so that's a lot of the science subjects and some of the business school courses as well fall under that bracket. You're looking around about £22,000 to £23,000 for that master's degree, or the ICMA Centre courses are, as I'm sure Mariana knows, the most expensive courses, and you're looking more about £24,000 to £25,000 for those courses. But that's partly due to the specialist facilities you get access to as part of the finance school.
Fantastic, thank you. So we're sort of looking at the cost between 28 and 35,000, more or less, with living expenses. Sorry, Mariana.
Yeah, I would really, guys, encourage you just to apply for the scholarships. Most of my friends that applied for their scholarships at least got one of them. I mean, of course, it's you're competing against people that are equally qualified as you possibly. So don't be discouraged if you don't get one. But yeah, just apply. I mean, you don't lose anything, but some time on doing an essay and just send it. I forgot to mention something to Roxana asking about the transportation. There's also an option in which you can hire a bike for the term quite cheaply. I think it's around 90 pounds for the term, and you get it. You even get free you even get the services and everything. If something's wrong, they have they go to campus, and that's quite useful as well to get around Reading. It's a small town. You can bike everywhere. Yeah.
very useful tip again. And just on the scholarship, I think, Frankie, you mentioned in the presentation that once students accept an offer, once they receive an offer and accept it, are they automatically considered for the scholarships that are available this year? Is that right?
So that's for undergraduate students. So if they're undergraduate, then they're automatically considered.
Okay.
But if you're postgraduate, please do remember to go and apply. We have what's called the Me at Reading Applicant Portal that all students get access to once they've received an offer from the university, and you can go through there. You can look at lots of different information, student stories, but also in amongst those tiles are your scholarship tiles. So do go in, have a look for those. It'll say Master's Scholarships, and you can click on that and complete a short online form. And they're based on academic merit. So when we have a look at your academic record and see what your background is, but you also get a chance to write a short supporting statement as well, talking about why it is you want to come and study with us, what you're hoping to do when you go back to your home country. And we take all of that into account, and we judge students contextually as well. We have a few different deadlines for those master's scholarships. Yes. So we have one deadline in March, so that's the first round, and then we have another deadline in July. If you don't get one in the first round, you're automatically considered for the second, but do make sure that you don't miss the application deadlines, because we do award them on a rolling basis throughout the year.
Yeah, so the important message there is get your applications to the degrees in, and then you can be applying for the scholarships with an acceptance.
Especially with the masters, the key is rolling basis. So as soon as you send your application, if you're qualified, they will accept you. So that word is actually quite important as well for the scholarship. Just try to keep up with time. And I did mine as soon as they got in, as soon as they opened, and I literally waited the period of time it indicated in the application process, and I got my response. So yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking at the beginning, but I mean, once you're in, it's quite relaxing, and you just have to plan everything. It's quite an exciting journey.
Fantastic. Thank you again for that tip. So it looks like we're out of questions and chat just now. So thanks everybody for asking the questions, and to Mariana and Frankie for answering those in such detail. I don't know if we just have time for some final words. Mariana, Frankie, you got some. Mariana, maybe first. You want to give a final word of encouragement to students considering coming to Reading for their master's or undergraduate study?
Yeah, I would say, guys, just apply. To be honest, I've been having a great time, and I'm sure it is really going to boost my career in the terms that it's taken me where I thought what I wouldn't get if I did not take this program. And yeah, just apply as soon as possible and get ready, because it is very, very exciting, and it's a bit demanding, but it's worth it at the end, and you're gonna have fun. Don't worry.
Thank you very much, Mariana, and thanks for your time this evening. Very, very kind of you to join us. And Frankie, well, I'll leave the final word to you.
Hey, thank you. It's been really lovely to answer everyone's questions this evening as well. I will say I studied at Reading, so I did my undergraduate at Reading. I studied English and German. I graduated in 2014, and clearly I didn't leave afterwards. So I think that's worth saying. So I went away, I worked in business for a couple of years, and then I came back to work for the university, and it is a really beautiful place to spend your time, and it's a really welcoming community as well, because it is a campus university. You always see the same people on campus, you run into people, you're really close to your lecturers, because again, you might walk past them in the cafeteria and you'll start up a conversation, and it really does have that family feel, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to study at Reading in the first place. If you do have any other questions after this point, I've put a couple of different ways you can get in touch on the screen here. So if you want to ask a question, we have our reading.ac.uk/question form. We have what's called Chat to Our Students, which is a system called Unibuddy. So you can talk to students like Mariana, and you can ask them all questions about your course or about what life is like. And that is like a chat function that you can use on there. And lastly, at the bottom, so we do offer one-to-ones to students. If you booked a one-to-one, I think it would most likely be with me. But if you do want to have one of those one-to-one meetings and find out in a bit more detail about the course, if you've got any really specific questions, if at any point during the application process you need a bit more guidance, of course, David, Angela, and Tina will be able to help you. But you can always scan the QR code there and book a one-to-one appointment with me, and I'm more than happy to help that. So hopefully be able to see some of you on campus either in or this autumn or next year.
Thanks very much, Frankie. Yeah, just to confirm that we will send out this presentation to everybody who's been on today and who registered. So you'll be able to check out that QR code and click on it and make your appointments, or via us. We're more than happy to help you set up appointments with Frankie from here through to September and enrollment in Reading. So, well, many thanks to everybody for joining us today. Particular thanks again to Mariana and Frankie for giving up some of their Wednesday evening. Great to see both of you. Thank you very much. And we'll be in touch and look forward to supporting students on their road to Reading. Thanks, everybody. Good evening and good afternoon. Oh, we've got another chat coming in very quickly. Maybe it's just a thank you. Yeah, it's a nice thank you from Hilda. So, Hilda, thanks for being with us, and we'll be in touch. All the best, everyone. Take care, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.